Hello friends, my name is Theo and today this exciting Mixed New Media tutorial has been brought to you by Skillshare. Click on the link in the description to get 2 months of premium access for free. More about them at the end of the video. Alright, now before we get into the meat and potatoes of this, just to have a little chat with you because this is going to be probably the most controversial video I've done to date. So I ask you to please just watch this in the highest quality possible because there's going to be some subtle stuff in here, and also just watch all the way through before forming opinions, because this is something that I see is a real problem and there is real proof that I'm going to show you right now that it's a problem, and that is people are shooting log when they shouldn't be shooting log. Now, log is still a great thing and you should still be shooting it sometimes, but not all the times, specifically whenever you're shooting low dynamic range scenes with compressed 8-bit footage. So I'm going to get right into some examples of what I'm talking about, and then after this we'll get into the theory about why this actually happens. So here I have a collection of clips. I have some real world ones and I have some synthetic ones so we can really see what's going on here. Now this is the source file from the camera shot in RAW. And you see it is nice and, it looks pretty good. It's obviously not a log shot. It's converted to Rec 709. You see in our waveform and our histogram, it's taking up most of the dynamic range of the scene. And that's what we want to see, is we want to see this histogram taking up as much of this area as we can before it clips. So we obviously don't want it to look like that. That's bad because it's clipping. But here, being contained in this area is good. But another thing that we don't want is, we'll get this with log stuff, and that is having our histogram just be super narrow in the middle. So this is what we don't want. So here, we'll see the consequences of this. And like I said, we'll talk about why this is bad at the end. So here we'll zoom into this really difficult part, this smoke. You see this nice gradual gradient. This is what's really going to fall apart. So once again, this is the source camera. And let me just get as much of this viewed as possible. Make sure, once again, you're viewing this full screen, highest quality possible. So you can see YouTube should be able to resolve this detail because it's just in the still. And you see it's, this nice smooth gradient. There's a little bit of noise from the camera, but you see everything is pretty organic looking. Now here we've got the same shot, but this time it's converted to H.264, you can see. But it was converted to H.264 from Rec 709. So this is basically shooting your camera in Rec 709 profile. It's exactly the same thing because it's converted from RAW. So this is what you get if your camera was shooting Rec 709, and this is a very high quality H.264. It's over 100 megabits per second. So this is a really good scenario. You see, from the RAW footage, it's basically indistinguishable to your eye. You can see if you look down at our scopes, it does change some, but perceptually, I'm looking at this and I can see no real change. There's maybe something a little over here, like some detail changes, but it's very slight. Now, this next shot is the same, but it was converted to H.264 in S-Log3 and then in Resolve converted back to Rec 709. So this is the same as shooting in S-Log and then re-expanding out your contrast. So, it's very subtle, but if you look, especially around here, you can see we're getting some color artifacts. So if we take a look, this is the good one. Once again, and look around here, and if I change this, see we're getting some color artifacts. This is very subtle, and this will be hard to see if you're not on a good monitor, but the next two examples will be with lower quality H.264s, because once again, these are very good H.264 conversions. So now we'll go back to our original, and here's going to be a low quality. This is about 30 megabits per second. So still a pretty typical bit rate for a DSLR. 30 is, sort of the lowish end, but it's not bad. So now we're going to go to something that would be natively shot in Rec 709. And you see, not a whole lot changed. We're definitely losing detail, but our colors are, pretty much right in line. You see, we're losing a lot of detail, but it doesn't really look, that much worse. So now, this next one is that same type of H.264, about 30 megabits per second, but this was shot in S-Log and then converted to Rec 709 in Resolve. So here, oh no, look at this. We're getting these huge blocky artifacts and this terrible line. Once again, these two are from the same source. It's just this one was shot in Rec 709, shot in quotes because, of the workflow working from RAWs. And this one was shot in S-Log, but converted to Rec 709. So you can see we're actually losing so much detail here. This looks terrible. I get shots that look like this all the time, and it just makes me cry. Because look at how bad this looks. You should be able to see this on any monitor. Just make sure you're watching in 4K on YouTube. But that is terrible. And once again, so this is the source. And this is the low quality H.264 shot in S-Log converted to Rec. 709. So here I can turn off the conversion, and this is what it looks like. So like just zoomed out, you'd say, hey, this looks like a fine shot. S-Log is nice. But whenever you get into the details of things, you can see just how terrible this is. And, once again, zoomed out, like, that's not so bad. But if you're doing any sort of color to this, then you're working from, these terrible, look at over here, just these really awful blocky artifacts. And the colors aren't even right. Like when you go before, like this is magenta and the skews blue. Like that's just no good at all. You're losing so much detail by shooting an S-Log when you shouldn't be. Now we're gonna, just to hammer this in, look at some synthetic examples. So here we've got just these gradients, totally fine. I'm gonna focus down on this black and white one because I think this is the most dramatic. And we'll go through that same series of tests. So this is high quality H.264s, shot in Rec. 709, shot in S-Log, low quality H.264s, shot in Rec. 709, shot in S-Log. So here we'll zoom in this gradient, and you see, this is a nice even gradient right now. This is our source. And then if we go to our high quality shot in Rec. 709, we're getting some banding from H.264 and stuff, but, it's not the worst. What more can you expect from H.264? This is like kind of a hard thing for it to deal with. And now we'll go to the one that was shot in S-Log and converted to Rec. 709. You see, oh no, this is much worse. You can see how we're getting these uneven artifacts from the S-Log conversion. Especially see down here, just completely clipping off these blacks. While here, we get the gradient all the way down, even if it's a little blocky. Here, we've just lost this whole area. Like, this is so much dynamic range here that you've lost. And now it's going to get even worse. So once again, we'll go back to our original, and this is going to be our low quality H.264s. This is the one that was shot in Rec. 709. So you see, not too much different from the high quality one. I mean, essentially the same. But if we go to the low quality one that was shot in S-Log but converted to Rec. 709, oh no, this is just even worse. You can see just how bad this is. And now, this is just our easy black to white gradient. What about, oh no, our color gradient? So let's compare this to our original. This looks beautiful and smooth. Anyone would love to see this. Go to our high quality Rec. 709. That's okay. It's a little bit of banding. You may or may not be able to see this on your screen. You probably should be able to if you're watching 4K on YouTube on a nice monitor, but like this isn't bad. And then we go to the one that was shot in S-Log. Oh no, now you should be able to see this terrible banding that's going on because we've just lost so much detail. Or our low quality shot in Rec. 709, that looks great. And then here's the low quality that was shot in S-Log and converted. Ugh, that's just so terrible. It's basically the same as the high quality one. You're like not getting any detail back. So you see that looks terrible. And going back to the original, you can see just how much terrible banding. And look at this crazy histogram. Like mathematically perfect, beautiful, just filling everything up. Just what happened? Look how bad this looks. There's all this artifacting around the edge compared to our Rec. 709 ones. You see these still look perfect. I mean, you're losing stuff because you're compressing it, but I mean, that looks so much better. All right. So now why is this the case? I mean, I'm sure that some of your minds are blown right now because you've always been told shoot and log to preserve details. Well, that all depends on your scene and what bit depth you're shooting in. So first of all, we'll talk about the scenes. So if you're shooting a scene with more dynamic range than your recording format can accurately display, then you'll want to shoot in a flat color space. That way you can compress the large dynamic range of your camera sensor into the smaller dynamic range of the recording format they're going into, aka 8-bit, 10-bit, whatever. That way, even though you may be technically losing some fine detail in the gradients, you're still retaining that highlight and shadow detail that would have been lost otherwise if you were just mapping your dynamic range one-to-one. And, really, perceptually, those highlights and shadows are going to matter more than your gradients in the end. But if your scene doesn't take up your whole camera's dynamic range, then compressing that large amount down to a smaller amount is going to be what loses details. It's a really easy way to tell if you should shoot flat or not is just look at the histogram on your camera. So here in this clip, you can see if I'm shooting in a Rec. 709 profile, I'm clipping on my histogram, and that's no good. If I bring it back down into a flat format, in this case, Blackmagic Film, it all fits in that histogram nice, and we've got all that detail to play with. Just like going back to our example in Resolve, whenever your scene doesn't take up the full dynamic range in Rec 709, then you should shoot that. And whenever it's flat and it just takes up a little bit, you should try expanding it out some. And if you're shooting on something with, really in-depth color controls, like, some of those picture profile settings on the back of a DSLR, then you can really sort of dial in your first like primary grade almost in the camera, and then that'll make it easier at the end, which obviously takes more time on set, but just something to think about. But if you're shooting a scene like this where, the difference between the darkest part and the brightest part is not very much, then having a histogram that looks like this, you're losing detail in here, because once again, you're shooting 8-bit. So there's all of this potential room for information that's just being left out, and all this potential room for information that's just being left out on either side. Because you can see here, it's all spread out. And the reason why that matters is especially with 8-bit footage, you only have 256 levels of brightness that can be represented per channel. So that's this divided into 256 little buckets. So we can actually visualize this by dropping down a new node and adding in the JPEG damage effect. And you'll see, we'll zoom into our same place here, and you can see this gradient is being divided up into all these different buckets. So as we decrease the bit depth further, you can see those buckets get bigger and bigger. So you can see if we go to show RGB picker value and then select our qualifier, you can see these values are changing here. But if those all fall inside this one bucket of a lower bit depth, then we just lose that detail. So once again, I'll just keep moving my mouse in the same area. You can see these are different colors, and this is also in one of our worst images. So if we copy the same node over to like our source here and enable, you see here, once again, that bucket has just quantized all those values in here. You see there's this nice smooth gradient that's just being taken up. So basically, all of these values are being quantized into one of these buckets. So if you have your histogram taking up most of your dynamic range that you can deal with, then you have more of these levels figured out. But if we have this, then you can see there are less values in that same range for us to go to. And we note that there are values there. And of course, if we were shooting at a higher bit depth, then we'd have more resolution to have those values come through. But then since this is an 8-bit image, then, obviously we don't have all that detail there. And you can see, if we look down at our histogram, if we're only using part of our 8-bit image, then technically we're just throwing out all these other bits here that would be useful if we were shooting, more expanded out like we need to be. So we're actually shooting less than 8 bits. So we're actually getting closer to having something that looks like this, which is no good. And here you can see, when we look at our histogram, then these are basically each of our little buckets that we're having. So let's go ahead and switch back to our log image and view this. So you see we have less buckets being taken up here. So turn this back on, you see. So here we can even count that we have, 13 or 14 little buckets that we can put stuff in, as opposed to here with an 8-bit image, we have, 256 little buckets. But being able to see it like this really helps you understand what's going on there. So then if we switch back to our log, then you can count we have 8 or 9 or 10. So, we really are actually throwing out all that extra stuff. So you wouldn't shoot in a camera that's lower than 8 bits and basically not using up your whole levels of brightness that you can use is shooting in a camera that's shooting less than 8 bits. It might not be a lot less, but if you've gotten this far in the tutorial, then you obviously care about image quality. So it's probably important to think about this stuff when you're shooting. And you can see that the stair stepping is even worse whenever you're shooting in lower quality compressions, because of all of the different tricks that it has to do to shrink your image down even more. And that's a little outside of the scope. The specifics of what's going on in H.264, if you want to have a really interesting evening, just, sit down with a nice tall glass of water and pull up patents for image compression and just read away, because it's fascinating. But just needless to say, it does even more rounding here. And you can see just, this is so absurd. Here, I even have one more node just to really go crazy. See, this just totally blows out the contrast, but it'll make it really easy to see the difference between these. So you see here is our low quality H.264 that was shot in Rec 709. And here's the low quality H.264 that was shot in S-Log and converted to Rec 709. Just, if this doesn't convince you why you should be really taking careful of what your histogram looks like when you're shooting, then I don't know how to help you. So anyway, I hope that this has really cleared things up. If you really like learning about new, interesting stuff like this, be sure to check out Skillshare. The first 1,000 people who click in the link in the description get a free 2 months of premium access to Skillshare. And Skillshare is great. You know how YouTube is like a little bit algorithmy and like kind of getting a little gross? Skillshare has none of that. It's just learning content. There's no gross clickbaity stuff. There's no crazy, like just memey, annoying stuff. It's just, you want to learn how to do something? You go in there, you type it in. It's great. Here, I can pull it up. You can see it's got the thing that I'm working on right now. Still learning how to draw. Not going to show you my progress because I'm still embarrassingly bad, but definitely getting better. See, we've got recommended classes. Just look at this. The titles are actually the titles of the video. Character illustration, drawing faces, figures, and clothing. If this was a class on YouTube, it would probably be something named like extreme figure drawing. You'll never believe the progress, amazing results, exclamation point, all caps. And then the thumbnail would be somebody screaming with red arrows pointed to them. This is just another perfect example. Building a complete photography kit. Cameras, lenses, storage, and tools. Not, the 5 most incredible items I've ever seen for photography. Click now, subscribe to my YouTube channel, etc. So just going through, you see, not only is the content great, but the really impressive thing is the delivery of it's just really good. And that's really the draw of this. So click on the link in the description. It's totally free for you to sign up. It helps me out if you do it too. So that's a bonus. And just click around and see how nice it is to be on a platform where it's not about clicks, it's about learning. And if after the 2-month trial you decide that you really like it and want to keep going, Skillshare is available for less than $10 a month if you join with a year subscription. There's thousands and thousands of classes. Just go for a deep dive. You've probably got time right now if you're listening to this around the time I'm recording this. So just go check it out. It's a good time. You obviously like learning stuff. You stuck through this far of a very dry video, a very technical, very dry video. Very important, very technical, dry video, but still dry and technical nonetheless. So I really encourage you to go check that out. First 1,000 people to sign up with the link in the description get a free 2 months. That's a great deal. 2 months, you can learn so much stuff in 2 months. But anyway, I hope that you've enjoyed this video. I hope that you've learned something. I hope if you were just blindly using Log all the time, you're now going to really change your approach to filming. Like interviews and stuff, you can set things up, shoot it as close to how you want it as possible, and you'll get the best color results, especially shooting 8-bit footage. So once again, I've been Theo with Meesner Media. Have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye.